Hey, Embracing Family Only, welcome back. We left off our last episode kind of talking about the noise and why finding stillness is so important. So we want to jump back in here, and Archita dropped some significant gems in the last episode. So if you haven't listened to that one already, I beg you, please go back and listen to it before you tackle this one. It'll make a little bit more sense. But what we're talking about here is this concept of our lives being super noisy, and how to really get back in touch with our intuition so we can answer some questions before moving forward. And let me break down the scenario to you. If you're with us here, it's because you probably resonate with this concept of the unraveling overachiever, right? You've got some great success at work, but you're not sleeping at night. You've labeled yourself an overthinker. You guys, that is not normal. This overthinking concept that everybody loves to just be like, yep, not normal. That's part of unraveling. You wear this mask at work, and then you're so exhausted at home, and maybe your relationships are bearing the brunt of your exhaustion. So the people closest to you are bearing the brunt of your exhaustion. If you resonate with that, this conversation is for you. So imagine you're this human that has all this stuff going on, and you're starting to question, is the price you're paying for success worth it, right? Is the sleepless nights, is the on and off airplanes, is the not being there for your family, is the mind racing and constant nervous system dysregulation, is it worth it for the success? And you're kind of arriving at the conclusion that no, it's not worth it. But you're so concerned about what the next step looks like. So you're coming to people like Archita and I, or your mentor or somebody else, and you're like, what does the next step look like for me? What do I do from here? How do I, pivot my life, and where do I pivot to? And you've got all these questions about what the next step looks like. You guys, let me just tell you, you want a checklist to pivot. I know you do, because I did, right? You want somebody to hand you a 10-point PowerPoint that if you do these things, you will get to glory on the other side, and you'll have this amazing life. Anybody that sells you that PowerPoint, I promise you, it is an agenda, right?
Yes.
If you are looking outside of yourself for answers, you are going to get answers that influence you to fulfill somebody else's agenda. Right? Those answers, you guys, the questions are good. I don't want to leave you with the impression that the questions are not good. The questions are good, but here's the gag. Those answers are going to come from within you. Now, let me tell you what I mean. Our lives today, my life, was so noisy. My head never shut off. Like, I could not believe when my husband was like, Olivia, people don't run around with this constant narrator in their head. Like, I literally have nothing going on in my head if I'm not thinking about something. That was a newsflash for me, because my head was never quiet. Never, ever quiet, right? I was always thinking about what I had to do for work, or what we were going to talk about on this podcast, or later on it was what contracts I needed to bring in and what clients I needed, and oh my god, did they get what they needed from me? This was even after I left corporate, right? Like, I'm thinking about all these things. The pets need this, and what about my family, and grandma needs this, and my mom needs this, and like, my head was so noisy. So when I started to ask some questions like, man, even after pivoting from corporate, I'm still mopping the floor like I'm getting chased by an axe murderer. My nervous system is still dysregulated. There has to be a better way. When I started to question and was looking for answers on which way to go, when I really got some answers was after that hurricane happened, you guys. It literally took a Cat 5 hurricane to the face to make me stop and be still. And let me explain what that meant. The hurricane took everything. It took my computer. It took the internet connection. It took my house. It took all my clothes. It took everything. So I literally could not sustain the noise, because there was nothing to focus on outside of immediate survival, water, food, a place to lay my head, right? And then once I got out of survival mode and I had a place to lay my head and I had water and I had food, I had nothing to do. I had nowhere to put this manic energy outside of exercise and meditate. So I
Mm.
spent a significant a portion of my days while we were trying to figure out, okay, how do we put this house back together, all of these things, working out and sitting in silence. You guys, the silence was the key to everything I had been missing. Killing the noise, not in the way that we used to talk about it, but still the same concept of killing the noise is what saved me. So once I got still, there was this inner guidance that started to happen. It's like, oh, Olivia, like you really love like guiding women. You really love like contributing to your community. Oh, you're doing this new Pilates thing. Maybe you should invest in there. I started to get so clear. I started to hear whether whatever you believe in, I don't know what it was. I choose to believe that it was God speaking to me, this quiet internal compass to be like, maybe you should steer your way over here. And I resisted it at first. I was like, oh my God, I don't know anything about Pilates. I don't know anything about, like, I'm new to this community. I don't have any connections. That's the initial resistance. But as I got quieter, the voice got louder. And I
Mhm.
already shared with you guys, I'm making more money now than I ever did in corporate, which is hard to believe. Right.
Yes.
And I am living in a way where I sleep like a baby. I can love on my husband. I can be present. Like my days are filled with love and stillness and work that honors the core of who I am, not what I think I should be doing to satisfy
Mhm.
somebody else's external impression of me. So I say all of that, you guys, to say the noise is killing you. The noise is preventing you from hearing the answers inside yourself. Me and Archita are not going to give you a 10-point paragraph because we have no idea what your purpose is here. You know what your purpose is if you would stop. Please stop. Right? Like I have another mentor, Christy Rutherford. You guys have heard me talk about her. And she says, women, high performing women, you have to hit us with a Mack truck before we'll stop and be still. Right? This is the exact same thing we're talking about, you guys. The answers are in the stillness, but first you have to kill the noise. Archita, what do
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And for you it was a Cat 5 hurricane. Not everyone, and I do not want anyone to experience a Cat 5 hurricane, right? Um, and I will say this because there have been so many women who have come through who have been like, "Hey, help me out," and sometimes it's like tiny little things. It's not a big event, right? So for me, it was a different kind of an event, right? It was leaving a corporate identity of 18 years that's kind of started that process
Mm-hmm.
due to feeling a certain sort of way, which honestly I feel was a blessing. And that now I don't, at that time I didn't think, now I feel it was a blessing, right? But then getting into a new place that was, um it was a very different environment, from a publicly listed company to a private equity company, then being a part of layoffs, right? Like quote unquote layoffs, right? And then feeling so at peace with it, which is insane. Feeling so at peace with it, and then taking time. And it was an event, right? Like it was not like I woke up one morning suddenly and I was like, hey, I'm going to start building my own company, right? That was not what happens. That will not what will happen for many people. But I had probably 4 years of a build up, essentially, where I saw so many signs that were small little signs that I chose to continuously ignore, to just ask, could there be something different? Just ask, could there be something different? And at that time I thought I was so limited because with what I consumed, with what I interacted with, that I thought meaning something different would only mean going to a competitor or another company or whatever. But I'd not expanded my worldview, right? So if you have any of those tiny moments when you're like, going to bed at night, or reading, not getting a chance to read that story to your kid, or jumping on another red eye flight. Like yesterday I met a mom, it was on a Sunday, and it was her kid's birthday party, and she was apologizing because I went to pick up my kid, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I have to go catch a flight. um and it's okay, it's her choices. But then she sent me this whole paragraph while she was on her getting ready to board her flight, I guess, apologizing for how she could not show up. And I'm like, you don't need to apologize to me. Like, I understand the gymnastics you have to do in order to show up in certain places, right? And that's okay. But there was language in between her long sentences that were essentially cries for help, that she was not listening to herself, where she's like, I'm just busy. we hide behind this bloody word busy as such a powerful thing. It is the dumbest thing we could possibly do to ourselves, by hiding behind the word, like, oh, you don't get it, Achita, I'm really just busy with work, my family, and just other obligations. Of course, life is never not going to be quote unquote busy. But how can you make that busy feel easeful? I know it sounds insane, right? And I think it all starts with just asking the simple question, could there be a different way?
I mean, I love that. And I almost want to challenge us. Like, busy is not a good thing, you guys. Like, busy is your corporate programming rooted so deeply in your subconscious that you think saying, oh, I'm busy is like, is some badge of honor. Like, it really isn't. It's not. Because while you're busy being busy, life is passing you by. You're getting older every second of every day, right? We don't know when our clock is up. Not to be morbid, but we don't. We have friends that have died young. We have friends that are dying in our age group right now. We have, friends that maybe will die in the next 5 years, right? We have grandparents that are on their way out that you don't make enough time to go see them, and they have a finite time here, right? We have relationships, our children, right? Even though I don't have any, but our children, you'll never get these formative years back, right? And we would much rather spend time on a corporate PowerPoint and, you know, tap dancing, frankly, because that's what we're doing,
Yes,
performing
yes,
for love for people at work that don't care about you, that are operating from their own internal wounds, than going to your 2 year old's birthday party. Think about that for a second, right? When you
yes.
say you're busy, you're hiding behind choices that you've made, and you're using a socially acceptable word to give yourself grace when what you should be doing is making different choices. What's important to you? What's
Yes.
important to you? Because it can't be this job that, as Archita said, will lay you off or fire you and roll you into a ditch and keep it moving, because that corporate machine doesn't depend on you, my love. It
Yeah.
does not. Your 2 year old does. Your husband does. Your spouse does. Your parents do. Your grandparents do. That job, it doesn't care about you. Even though it might make you feel good, right? Some part of you, it makes you feel good, right? But it doesn't care about you. So I would challenge, if you find yourself saying a lot, oh, I'm just busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, and you're saying it to the people that actually would show up at your bedside if you got sick, you should think about your priorities and really think about what this job or these decisions that you're making is truly costing you.
Yes, guys, and ladies, and I kind of want to just double click on it almost to just really bring home the fact on two things. One, start, start writing the answers to that question of could there be something different, and two, take one step once a week, every day, whatever, to exploring what that different could mean. It could be as simple as following a newsletter, from someone who has left or whatever it might be. It could be simple as tuning into one of these episodes and like podcast episodes and like listening in on one of the women who have done it, or like our conversations of Olivia and myself kind of doing it ourselves, right? It could be really tiny. It could be talking to Claude, God forbid, right? And just having a conversation of how could I use my strengths outside of a corporate environment. I know it sounds insane, but seriously, try that. That's this really easy, simple way to do it. It could be having a chat with your therapist. Why am I so afraid to leave? Or it could be finding a therapist for the first time as well. Like, I wish every senior leader would get a therapist. I really, truly, I mean, any leader at any point, anybody at any point, but after you've put in a few miles doing it all on your own and thinking there's only one way to do it, I cannot tell you how many people I speak to, how many women I speak to. The first question I ask them is, do you have a therapist? Because otherwise, if you choose to leave, you're going to try to find one in friends, in mentors, in life coaches, and either they lead you down the wrong path because they're not qualified to help you in that department, or you'll get even more screwed up. So, Olivia said this in the last episode where wherein high overachieving people have something from their childhood, from their past, from their experience in the past, that have pushed them to perform for someone, something, for claps, for recognition, for a parent, for whatever it might be. And we've not done the work to unpack what it is. So we keep that performance up. And the only one who could help you, a good one, not anyone, but the only one that could really help you on that is that therapist in that journey. So whatever that small step is, kind of activate you to please take that small step. And it could start with Claude, but Claude is not a therapist. Just really putting it out there as well.
Facts. And I'm going to follow up this point. Go find a therapist, you guys. Let me just tell you, Archita was like, girl, you need to see a therapist after Melissa happened. And I was like, I'm fine. And she was like, no, you need to go find therapist. And it took her, I don't know, it had to have been like four, maybe five,
Right.
maybe half a dozen times of you saying you need to go find a therapist before I was finally like, fine, I'll go like talk to someone. You guys, holy hell. Let me just tell you, for those of you that are just joining us, I am a veteran. I was a military engineer and then turned HR executive. And on top of that, I am aggressively Jamaican. So all of that means I am so stubborn, right? Like I am super stubborn. I feel like I can figure it out myself. Like I can rationalize through anything and I can get my place, get myself to wherever I need to be. And the most therapy I possibly need is probably a glass of vodka and then it'll be fine, right? Like
Right.
that's in my mind.
My God.
I'm like, that is how I solve all problems with time and enough rational thought and maybe a good cry and some wine. Like, we'll get through it, right? No, you guys, if you are like me, take it from me. I was super reluctant to do this, but I think what therapy gave me was some tools to question my own narratives and figure out why I do the things that I do. Why do I keep making these choices? Why don't I make different choices even though I'm unhappy with the choices that I've made? It gave me the tools to help me find my way and to find the stillness that I'm telling you guys about. So yes, everything that we're telling you here is a very, very good baseline, but you're going to need a earthly guide through this stuff. And I could not recommend therapy even more than what Archita just said. It really will help you. And I think my reservation, if you're like me, to it was like, oh God, if I go get a therapist, I'm admitting defeat and I'm broken and something's wrong with me,
So
right? Like that's where
interesting.
your
Really?
internal voice goes.
Oh,
That's not the truth at all. And maybe you're not crazy like me. Maybe your internal voice doesn't do that, but mine certainly did. It's like if I can't figure this out myself, something's wrong. I'm broken. Like it's me admitting defeat. Um, it's not defeat, you guys. We all need help sometime. Whether it's a coach or a mentor or whatever, it's just like that. It's just a guide to help you get through some of these hurdles. So go do it. Go find a
that is
therapist.
insane. I never heard you say that out loud before, because I remember we had the same conversation 5 years ago or 4 years ago or something like that. I only remember because I was trying to pick up one of my kids and we had time. So there was a moment in your life you were navigating, and I was like, Olivia, you need to speak with a therapist. Because I'd come to a point where as a friend, I could not offer value or advice that could help you navigate that moment. And you're like, oh yes, of course. And this is what also overachievers will do. They will mask and be in agreement with, like, oh, it seems so logical, for sure, like, yeah, I'm going to get the help. And I think you might have seen somebody for like a hot second or
Like
spoken to
10
somebody,
seconds.
yeah, for 10 seconds. And I remember later on checking in and being like, oh, are you still seeing someone? And you're like, oh, no, not anymore. So again, and I don't mean it in any other way, but we go to the bloody gym, we fall off the freaking wagon. And then, I still have my 27-year-old coach who whips me back into shape. And he's like, nope, get back on. This is what we're going to do. I don't just cancel my gym membership because now I think like I've got my whole thing together, right? And so, or whatever, because we're going through so many cycles. And I look at this whole idea of therapy as that gym membership for my mental healing and like spiritual healing. Um, And knowing that, you like, I think my therapist has tried to break up with me a few couple of times, because she's like, I think you're all set, Archita, I don't think you need help anymore. And I'm like, lady, we're just unpacking aspects of me. You're not getting rid of me anytime soon. And so then she'd be like, oh my god, this is a really interesting layer, right? Because
Hmm.
also what overachievers do a really good job of is only bringing things to the table so confidently that even professionals will be like, okay, this is all they have to navigate and we should be good, but not sharing like deep wounds that have affected so much. And no matter how much they try to unpack, we might not open be open to that experience, right? So I remember my therapist telling me, like, it was 1.5 years. I was in the gym. I was in the midst of a deep workout and listening to Mel Robbins' podcast about something or the other. And I go on to my next call and I'm like, damn, I am convinced I have ADHD. And she's like, I have been telling you this for the last year and a half. And you, my friend, have not been listening. And so this is the other crazy thing. You're going to get help, but it's still going to take time to deprogram and unprogram who you are. So don't wait for a key event to happen. Like, I think that's the example that both of us are sharing is, don't wait for an event to happen. Start the work before the event happens. Just like, you don't want to wait for a cardiac event to happen for you to go to the gym for the first time, right? You're keeping up with your health right now to help be proactive about your life, right? So the same with our mental health as well. So I didn't expect this episode to turn into, like, why therapy is important session, but that's where we've gone. And I think it's an important part of this de-identification process from something that doesn't serve you well anymore.
No, I think we needed to go here because if people don't find stillness, if they don't find the silence, they're not going to get the answers that they need to align with their highest selves, right? Like that's what we're really talking about here. In order to become unshakable, in order to stop the unraveling and stop the overachieving, frankly, you have to figure out what it is that your purpose is here, what fills your bucket, for lack of a better word, and then you go monetize that and go live your best life, right? You're working from a place of passion versus a place of survival. And in order to get those answers, you have to find that stillness that only, I think, therapy can guide you. It's either therapy or a hurricane, so you guys choose.
Oh my
Right?
god,
Like
right?
if you're as stubborn as I am, somebody said this to me. I think it was my cousin's wife. She was like, you know what? God always gets what he wants. And so if you continue to be stubborn, like you might end up in a place where you get jacked up severely to course correct you onto the path that you need to be on. That's what I'm trying to save people from, right? Like your internal system is screaming at you about it. So let's get some help to figure out how to realign ourselves, and not wait for some event, something traumatic to happen to kickstart the process, right? Like let's do it with some ease versus force.
Like, okay, that is it, right? That's the topic of this entire episode today. How do you do things with ease versus force? Because the world will find a way to force you to
Oh
stop.
yeah.
Your body will find a way to force you to stop. And that will feel a lot more insurmountable than when you choose to do it on your own terms, right? and
Exactly.
and we keep talking about like stillness and everything else. Like, I want to be clear, like, none of us have monks here, right? Neither Olivia nor I are monks in any way, shape, or form. And it's not like a one day thing where suddenly we're like, hallelujah, and like, we're like in still and peace with ourselves. But it's this constant choice we choose to make ever so often. For me, it's like almost every 3 to 6 weeks where I kind of sit down with myself, reconnect, try to understand, like, okay, am I going in the right direction? What are the different, like, what's noise, what's signal, etc. But it's like an what is it? It is a chosen way of almost living now, to ask, is there a better way? Is there a different way? Not because I want the next big thing, because that's what it was in corporate, right? Like, oh, I want to be the director, I want to be the senior director, oh, I want to be the vice president. That's not what I'm chasing. It's like, is there a better way to find this, like, in the words of the great Kung Fu Panda, inner peace, right? Or am I just doing the motions, right? So there's so much to it. So take the help is super critical. Start small and start with even like that basic question of, is there a different way?